Joined as always, your host Sean Klein with Dave Fast. Dave, this has been a wildly big week. I don't even know where to start because we've got the president got COVID. This is just in the last 48 hours, by the way. The president got COVID. One of my best friends died in a freak plane accident, and my mother also just sent her entire funeral plan. Like I'm not kidding you. Down like it's planned down to the T. Would you plan out your funeral like this?
I don't think I would. I don't know your mom personally outside of those few times you spent some time between the sheets, but I personally would not do that. No.
Who plans out their funeral like that? Like it's planned down to a T, exactly what type of food we're gonna have at the catering. She's gonna be dead. I'm on the phone with her yesterday. I'm like, "Are you planning on dying?" She's like, "No, I just wanted you to know that everything's planned out." I'm like, weird.
I mean, I will say this to her credit. So first of all, I mean, a funeral is a celebration of life. So I mean, you're effectively planning a party, right? And also, like, that's maybe she's thinking that's a big weight off your and your family's shoulders, that she has all this taken care of. Therefore, you guys don't have to worry about it. But at the end of the day, you're like, she's not alive. She wouldn't be alive anymore in this scenario. So I guess you don't necessarily. You would think you'd want to honor her last wish, but you don't have to if you don't want.
I mean, hey, it's her last wish. It's her choice. But speaking of last wishes, we've also had a lot of players go down this week, not just due to injury, but COVID too.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I got this idea that we could do something this year to honor those who've been lost due to COVID. And part of that is just doing a shot in their honor. Feel better, Cam. That face right there. That's what it's all about.
There's a
after you do Rumple Mints. So Cam Newton went down, Adam Humphries. Not to shed light on any of these illnesses or injuries, but I think it would be fun to do something different and interesting, very similar to this. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just kind of doing something else, a little bit of fun for the league. Not necessarily you're not doing anything with your roster. It's not going to affect your roster, your team. It's just, having a little fun with kind of like a shitty situation. As you mentioned, COVID's no laughing matter, but at the end of the day, we're just having fun playing fantasy football. So, and you're doing it in their honor. You're saying get well to that player afterwards. So I like the idea.
And it is creating some problems in the league right now with the IR situation, which is something we wanted to address on this show as your co-commissioners. Dave, you want to run through it?
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is we talked in the beginning of the season about adding an extra IR spot because to start with, you're given one IR spot. Unfortunately, since the draft was completed, we can't go back and edit the roster spots or edit how many spaces you get without having to completely reset the draft and go. I mean, that's just too much work. So what we're going to do is it's an honor system, right? You have your normal IR spot. As long as someone's listed as on IR, that player is eligible to be put there. We're going to do a second IR spot. This is an IR spot that has COVID in mind, but at the end of the day, if you want to use it for someone else who is out, that's fine. Just bear in mind that if you used to, if you want to use another one, you got to give up one of those players. You're going to have to release them. But what we're going to do is we are going to, if you have a player who goes down, who's injured, IR or COVID, message the GroupMe message board, message the GroupMe page, and then say, hey, placing this guy, I'm releasing this guy for IR purposes only. You'll release that player, and then put it in the league message board as well, if you can remember. That way, we can get this spreadsheet updated, which everybody will have access to. That way, we'll have a live showing of what players have been put on the IR. So if you don't have a free IR spot, like for instance, my team does not because I have Christian McCaffrey on the IR, and I wanted to put somebody else on the IR, I would say releasing, for instance, Deebo Samuel with the intent of picking him back up when he's healthy. Then for the rest of the teams, you can't pick him up. You cannot pick him up.
So for example, I'll actually go through my own team here because I do have that situation where I have Reichel Armstead on the IR. He's out. I also have Cam Akers who's out. So I'm going to add Reichel Armstead to the IR, and I'm sending this message in the group me as well. And he's on Muppets, and today's date is 10/3. So the other aspect to this, I think, is once their IR designation runs out. So for example, if Reichel Armstead is like questionable tomorrow, that would mean he'd need to be added back to your roster. And Dave and I will keep track of this, and we'll let you know. And within the next 24 hours, you need to either make a drop or something along those lines to be able to re-add that player. Otherwise, it becomes a free agent, right?
Correct. Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So sorry. Again, this is partly my fault. I didn't change the rules like I was supposed to. But I think this is a good workaround to at least get through the season if we're going to have the rest of the season with COVID and everything. So anyway, let's move on here and talk about this past week's games, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, you want to start off for us?
Yeah. So you start off. We have Double D is hosting Killer Tomatoes, and Killer Tomatoes. Unfortunately, he couldn't get it done. Sorry for my dog in the background here. But Killer Tomatoes couldn't get it done. Didn't even score 100 points. We saw Killer Tomatoes did get punished for that. But at the end of the day, you look at it, Killer Tomatoes just didn't show up. They didn't show up. No injuries.
Last place in the league this week. And also, Dave, you have a question for him.
Yeah, Rob, you gave us part 1 of your video that Shawn challenged you to. You said part 2's coming. I've been waiting.
Where's part 2?
Waiting for
Bend it like Beckham over Paul's team. You all look so dumb. I'll tell you what, Patrick Mahomes, he's the real deal here with 45.85 points. Then you have Kirk Cousins, too, finally showing up alongside his boy Dalvin Cook to beat You Are All So Dumb. And also one thing to point out there, Kenyon Drake, where's he been all season? Hopefully he can show up for Paul's team coming up next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got Shawn the Muppets against the UK Bills. Shawn was very worried about this game going into it. There was a few trades, a few players that UK Bills was able to acquire over the last week. We all know the stories behind that and the situation with that. UK Bills did not get it done. 132 points. This is probably the biggest gap of the week in points scored. And also, in my opinion, most upsetting team, the team that really did not live up to its hype in UK Bills. UK Bills had some injuries early in the season, can't get over it. I don't know if UK Bills is going to rebound from this loss going forward.
The Cadet Bone Spurs, I think the second most points in the league, but you didn't pull it off with a huge win, just 5 points against the other team involved in that controversial trade. So I won't get fined. Clever name now, but still heading to 0-4. Aaron Rodgers coming through for Dave's team, along with Robert Woods. Matt Ryan had sort of a letdown of a game, but you still came through with 170 points. On Matt's side, you still have Devontae Parker, Marvin Jones, and Mo Alley Cox just disappointing after huge games the week prior. And then James Robinson, though, he's the real deal.
Yeah, and real quick, going back to that game, not to spend too much time on that, but you look at Kamara. I mean, Andreski's team has to really be upset about that. 50 points almost, and still couldn't get it done. All
right, moving along. This one.
All right, you got itty bitty tight ends by committee against the Beckham. Beckham bends over. I believe he had a different name. Ben loves Ben Titties or something prior to this game. But anyways, Anton, of course, we have this bet going on. How many games is Anton going to win at 3.5? I took the under. Shawn took the over. Anton had a big win this week. Last week, not the same this week. Anton loses almost by 30 points.
That's all for.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
So yeah, we're gonna have a transition there.
Yeah.
And then we'll just move into this. So we're recapping last week.
Yeah.
You wanna start off and just start whenever you want.
In case you guys don't remember, Shawn and I have a little friendly wager, a board bet. Is that what they call them? Board, whatever you call it.
Yeah, we got a board bet, man.
Board bet we're gonna pick each game each week. Whoever has the best record at the end of the season through the championship will get a ornament.
Ornament, yeah.
From the loser.
Ornament bet.
Yeah. So going into this week, or week 3 rather, Shawn had a record of 3-2. I had a record of 2-3. Very close. Let's see how that turned out.
I didn't turn out well for me. I only got one win last week. For you, it's a different story. I mean, we kind of flip-flop spots here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You look at, I went 3-2 this week. You went 1-4.
1-4, not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just hoping to make the big and win 60%. You know.
Yeah, I would say this. I mean, for going 1-4, I mean, we only have 5 games each week. For going 1-4, you're only 1 game behind. So you're still. If you repeat this upcoming week, I would definitely start getting worried.
All right. So what are your predictions moving forward after what we've seen? Given this is a late episode, we do kind of have a leg up on players like Jerry Jeudy and the Broncos defense here. But I don't think that's going to really change my opinion of this game. I still think Derek wins this handedly. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, you look at the predictions, this is forecast to be the closest game of the week. Jerry Jeudy had a big game. I mean, we've been waiting for him from the fantasy standpoint. Yeah, 420 minutes left. That's pretty good. We've been waiting from a fantasy standpoint to kind of show what he can do. Is he going to continue this going forward? Who knows? You look at Matt's team, of course, losing his starting quarterback, Big Ben, because of the game being postponed until later in the season. That hurts. He's got Justin Herbert starting. So, yeah, I think with that kind of late information here, I don't foresee Matt's team having a chance in pulling this off. I think it'll be close, but I think Double D moves to 3-1, and unfortunately, Matt goes to 0-4.
Oh, that's rough.
What do you think?
Your team against Paul's team. Paul's 1-2. You're 3-0. You have yet to lose. I've actually been looking forward to our matchup. But Paul here has the chance to upset you. And you know what? I think with his team, you're going to be surprised. A lot of these players can show up, and he's got a nice matchup here with Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to come into Dallas and just smoke them. So, and I think Nick Chubb's going to get touchdowns. Odell Beckham's going to get touchdowns. And then obviously with that comes Baker Mayfield. I think he's got a nice stack there to take out the Cadet Bone Spurs. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pick my team to lose, not at all. You know, my big issue I need to figure out, my big concern is CH, a player I acquired from you this past week. There were a couple trades I made this week. My roster has changed quite a bit. Is he going to play this week? I mean, the NFL right now is saying Monday or Tuesday, most likely Tuesday. As long as a game is played Tuesday, it will count. Here I am sitting in limbo. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm really hoping I find out by 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock on Sunday. So if not, I can insert Brown or McKinnon. But I think, I got rid of Aaron Rodgers. He was a great player for me. Had to get rid of him because I have a plan for my team once Christian McCaffrey comes back. I'm not going to get into that. But I love my team. I think my team is set. Great for the future. I'm going to move to 4-0.
Undefeated, huh? Staying undefeated.
Walk over Paul's team. I'm saying 45 points plus I beat him by.
Wow. All right. That's pretty cocky. I really hope you lose.
And I tell you what, if I don't beat him by 45 points or more, I'll do a live shot on the BiddieCast.
Wow. You're making a huge bet, huh?
Yeah, I mean, no, to twist my arm.
I really believe you're gonna win. Why don't we just do a board bet? I mean, I've got Paul, you got you.
Okay.
Just do a board bet, and I get the 45-point spread too.
I mean, that's a great. I mean, starting up, yeah, sure, plus 45.
You basically just want to do a shot.
I'm confident in my team. I think Watson's gonna have a huge game. I think Singletary. And I'm not just saying it as a Bills fan, but you look at that Oakland defense in the first 3 weeks, terrible, not good against the run. Zach Moss questionable going into this. Devin Singletary had a great game last week. I mean, the Bills' offense is great as it is. I think Devin Singletary is going to have a monster game this week.
I'm taking you on this board bet with how many points?
I said so 45. 45. We'll call it 45 and a half. No, just 45. Just 45.
Okay. I got that down for board bet.
I mean, how could you not? I don't think there's a single person watching this BiddieCast. There are 2 people that might watch this outside of me.
He's got Lamar Jackson. I really think Kenyon Drake's about to go off. The Browns are going to go off on Dallas. Adam Thielen always goes off. He could get 200 points this week. I mean, your team's good too, but I don't know what's going to happen with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, you're in a tough position. Noah Fant already only put up 8.5 points. No, I'm taking. You're going to be doing a shot next week, live on the BiddieCast.
We'll see.
All right. Moving along to my team, the Muppets versus Itty Bitty, tight end by committee. I think this is the game of the week. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a Sunday night game. There's no doubt about that. You have you're in first place in your division. Itty Bitty is right behind me. And the Bum Bums division, certainly a win here and a loss by me will. He'd still be behind me because I did beat him in the head-to-head.
I don't know if it comes down to that. I think the next one's points. So
he'd be ahead of me then, unless he drops a dud here. So I mean, look at his team. I mean, in my opinion, right now, I mean, he's got Itty Bitty. I mean, he's got the NFL fantasy MVP on his team in Josh Allen. I mean, he's got Josh Allen, who has been amazing as a fantasy. I mean, he's been amazing even in real life as a quarterback. But from a fantasy point producer, he's been crazy. Dak Prescott leads the league in NFL in passing yards. Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones. I mean, I said it 2 weeks ago. Beginning, I'll say it again. His team is championship caliber. If he can string some wins together. This is a tough matchup for the Muppets. I think the Muppets drops this one. It's Travis Kelce. What are you going to do with your tight end? Because do you have another tight end? You don't have another tight end.
No, I probably got to figure something out.
You got to get somebody to be on the mercy.
Yeah, I mean, with that said, I agree with you. I think I've got too many problems to face this week, and Fires put out, like I said, Cam Akers is out too. So he's going to be dropping the IR and Raquel Armstead to the waiver IR. Probably going to put in Russell Gage, maybe Terry McLaurin. But even then, I still think it comes down to my running backs just aren't strong enough, and so I'm giving them the win. So that's 2 of us on that one.
We're agreeing on that one.
All right, UK Bills and Killer Tomatoes. I'm going to start off on this one because I think UK Bills have a very, very good roster. They came up short last week, but it's only because my team is freaking awesome. I don't think they're coming up short this week.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Killer Tomatoes took a huge hit with the news that broke today with Cam Newton being out. So I mean, he's got Carson Wentz and Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Carson Wentz, I think, is a middle of the road fantasy quarterback. He'll probably always get you 15 points. Doesn't really do much better than that. And Fitzpatrick will either get you 4 touchdowns or 4 interceptions.
Negative 5 points.
He's going up.
You have no idea what can happen there.
Yeah, I mean Fitzpatrick.
And actually, this is the battle between the 2 tradees.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. So this could move to Monday night. This is probably the flex it to the Monday night game.
Yeah, it should be very interesting to see what happens here. Again, Fitzpatrick going against Seattle. I mean, they're not the Legion of Boom, but they're still a pretty good defense. Wentz going against San Francisco. I mean, they're injured, but they're still a pretty good defense there. I think the key to Killer Tomatoes is going to be if Buffalo's defense can stop Josh Jacobs. I don't know if they can, but even if he has a big game, you look up and down that roster, it's going to be tough for him to find points with. I mean, it's going to be tough.
What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's
like if this isn't karma, I don't know what is.
It's funny, and it's funny because there was a little bit of a discussion about how we should change this whole with the Pittsburgh Tennessee game happening. If we should allow players to be dropped and picked up, and we decided that they're on a bye week, we're handling it as normal. I mean, you look at UK Bills roster. He's got 4 quarterbacks on his roster.
I hope none of his players have a Saturday injury.
Yeah, I mean, do you? Oh, he must have dropped. Yeah, he's got Breeze, Burrows.
He can't drop any of these players except for maybe Snell.
You drop Tannehill.
Why? I wouldn't drop Tannehill. I like him a lot. If he dropped Tannehill, he would not get him back.
He's got Drew Brees and Gardner Minshew and Joe Burrow.
That is a lot of players. I don't know. I still like Tannehill. I mean, I'd probably drop Minshew before I drop Tannehill.
Yeah.
I still don't know, like, I don't trust late round quarterbacks like Minshew. I love the story, don't get me wrong. I love the stash. I love everything about him. I want him to succeed. But I just know in my own experience, like, look at the Peterman project. 6th-round pick, looks great in practice, does this, does some nice things, and then throws 8 interceptions.
5 interceptions in the first half.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. He's in a tough position. I don't like dropping either of them. I try to find a trade partner, and whoever's got Tom Brady, you can probably talk to them.
You know, one thing I will say about this situation with him getting a bye week here is that he is getting essentially these guys are, if he can get through this
week, they're getting a fresh roster too.
Yeah, if he can get through this week with a win, he's in good shape.
Connor was banged up, Schuster was banged up.
Yeah, he's getting extra rest. If he comes out with this a win, he has these players for the rest of his season. Not to worry about. I mean, look at this roster: Juju, Connor, Schnell, and Derrick Henry. You're never going to question if they're going to be starting, right? There's going to be no question about that. You don't have to worry about bye weeks again because they had their bye week. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting week. You know, a lot has changed.
We got same picks on all the games except for yours.
Right.
And then in this one, Chris already has a 27.8 point lead.
Yeah.
And then he's playing against Anton, who's starting Mike Davis and Nick Foles. I think this is a no-brainer for me. I'm going Chris. Anton, I hope I'm wrong because I want you to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want Anton to win because of our prop bet. I also just made a trade with Anton, so I'm hoping to win that trade long run. But, you know, one thing I would say to look at with Chris's team is, again, the postponement of the KC game. We don't know what's happening. He could pull up Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, but he doesn't have another quarterback in his roster if he wants to put him in the OP spot. So some late moves that Chris might need to think about making, but as long as the Chiefs play, especially, I mean, if the Chiefs play, this is going to be, I think, the one of the biggest blowouts. I don't think Anton's going to cross 100 points on this one. I'm not going to bet on that. But I just don't see how he can pull a win here. I don't think how he can be competitive here.
Looking at both benches, I think there are some moves that they might want to consider. All but one game, yeah.
So the best you can do is you can tie it up.
Well, what the hell are you just gonna play? Are you just gonna play the strategy all year?
Hey man,
All right.
Well.
All right, let's wrap this up. Dave, send it away.
All right, guys. Good luck this week. Everyone, stay healthy. Don't get COVID, and go fuck yourselves.